Okay, so welcome to our Speed Summit on Belonging. The idea is to, all along for our Speed Summits, has been to talk about each of the five pillars. I like to start out each of these summits with a quick overview of our pillars in case you haven't come to the 101 sessions or are not familiar with all five of ALD's pillars. But the idea of having pillars is really just more of a guide for chapters and chapter officers to really get a sense of what the chapter can be doing on your campus. A lot of times new officers aren't really sure what ALD is all about, or members might join and they're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing on campus. Once they join, they did great their first semester, they joined the Honor Society, now what? And so these five pillars are a way to guide you and give you some ideas or help at least initiate some ideas. So the five pillars are academics. How can you help your chapter and members continue that academic success? Hopefully there's a goal that students want to and maybe graduate with a high GPA. It's not required. You don't get kicked out if students drop below the minimum, which is 3.5. But the chapter could be doing lots of things to encourage members to continue to be academically successful, bringing speakers to talk about study skills, just hang out and study once a week together, have study sessions, all sorts of fun things you could do and interesting things to do. The second one is scholarships. I know IUPUI wins a lot of scholarships, so that's great. What are ways that you can help your members apply for and successfully be awarded scholarship money? Not just Alpha Lambda Delta scholarships, but all kinds of others, because there are millions of dollars given away from hundreds and thousands of organizations that give money to college students. So have some programs on your campus that encourage application to apply for scholarships and hopefully win scholarships. The third one is career development, helping students develop career readiness skills. That includes leadership development. How can ALD be a resource to help students develop leadership skills? The fourth one is service. So all sorts of ways that your chapter could be engaged in service activities and really anything that inspires you, that you're passionate about. Ask your student members what they're interested in, or give them the top 10 service ideas, from raking leaves for the elderly, reading to kids after school, soup kitchens, donations for domestic violence centers, river cleanups, and anything you want, anything that's important to your neighborhood can be a service project. And last but not least is this one. So I will dive into this. By the way, we didn't do introductions. My name's Eileen Merberg, and that's Lauren Huffman. Lauren, you want to say hi?
Hi, Roxy and Allison, and Lucy is joining in now too. Welcome. I'm Lauren Huffman. I'm the chapter advisor for the Kent State University chapter in Northeast Ohio, and I also work for ALD headquarters part-time.
Great. Thanks. I'm going to have to edit the video recording and move this introduction to the head, to the front. So thanks for being here. Thanks for coming. So belonging, what does that mean? We used to call this pillar social, or to be social with each other. But I really love the concept of belonging better, so we renamed it belonging. But what it first meant was that Alpha Lambda Delta on your campus can just be fun. You should have fun with it. Do fun things that don't always have an agenda, that don't always have to be serious or academic, or have something other than just to be together, to enjoy each other's company, to make friendships, to enhance friendships. And so that could take the form of so many different things, like ice cream socials are popular, game nights have become more and more popular, but just anything where you just all get together and have fun, but help students make connections. And so we switched it over, evolved, I guess, to the word belonging, because it's just a broader word. It encompasses, I think, a lot more to it, and it has some deeper meanings for us anyway, that we'd like to convey. And really, it's about being inclusive and being a welcoming environment and a welcoming chapter to all your members. You have very diverse memberships because we're interdisciplinary. Students come from all walks of life, all majors, every group that you can think of to identify people is the mix that is Alpha Lambda Delta. And so you want to be sure that the chapter is conveying a sense of inclusivity and welcoming, and that students feel like they belong in the chapter, they belong at your university. And that's super important. And one of the things, Lauren, I don't know if you saw this on the notes, but I was reading something about belonging, and I just came across this, which I thought was kind of cool. Just a very simple, what does belonging mean? So the Cambridge Dictionary defined belonging. Can you actually copy and paste just the definition? I love it. It's just really cool. It's a feeling of being happy or comfortable as part of a particular group and having a good relationship with the other members of the group because they welcome you and they accept you. So that's really the crux of what we mean by belonging and what we'd like to encourage you to offer and program around for your chapter. So I don't know if some of you might be social chairs or event chairs. You might not have a particular position at all, but I would encourage chapters to, if they don't already have a chair position or a coordinator position or whatever you might call the officer, that you create one for this, maybe chair of belonging or something like that. Oftentimes it's social chair. So let's delve a little bit deeper into belonging. And then, so again, these sessions are really quick. We're trying to get you in and out in 30 minutes or less. But we do have a couple of resources I want to share, and I want to delve a little bit more into this idea of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So we have adopted DEIB as a strong focus for Alpha Lambda Delta. And so that stands for diversity, equity, inclusion. And often you see DEI, but we really felt strongly to add that B for belonging. So we've had a couple of programs, previous summits, maybe you've gone to them, that have talked about these. We had a keynote speaker a couple of years ago talk about this, and then a student talk about it at a summit, I think this past spring. Yeah. So I'm only gonna, Lauren's gonna share the YouTube links to these videos. We're not gonna watch the whole videos, but I wanted to just have a little taste of it to frame again the belonging, and then we'll talk about ideas for things you can take away and perhaps implement on your campus. So here is a keynote we had. I always forget to share this out. There we go. Latia Sinclair was a keynote for us, and she taught. We're just going to again watch a few minutes of it and give you a taste of it.
Inclusion means that people feel socially accepted, valued, and respected. Truly, inclusion is an effort or an action to make people feel like they are welcome regardless of those differences. And so for me, it's nice to say we have diverse representation, and we always want to keep equity at the forefront. But inclusion truly is the heart of what it is that all of us as leaders are responsible for. That is where belonging is truly rooted. And so we're going to kind of shift over into this idea of what belonging truly means as it relates to DEI. So belonging is the feeling of security and support. When there's a sense of acceptance, inclusion, and identity for a member of a certain group. Sense of belonging is a key predictor of well-being, engagement, and academic success. Students who feel connected are more likely to excel academically. And so I want to just pause for a second and have you all reflect on moments when you felt you belonged to a particular group or community, And also think about times where you may not have felt included and what those feelings brought up. And so I'm going to give you about a minute just to kind of reflect on a moment where you felt like you belonged, but also a moment where you felt excluded, and think about some of those adjectives and feelings that came out when you did not feel included.
I'm just going to pause at that one just to, again, a taste of it. It's a 24-minute video, but there is a good 5 to 7 minutes or so right in the middle there where she really delves into belonging. And I just thought, so Lauren shared the link. And so that might be something, if you have an event or program or a meeting, and you want to talk about this as a chapter or even for your officers, maybe show this video and actually have students answer that question, to sort of talk about and share when people have felt like they were included, and importantly also when they felt like they were not included and how that feels, so that they have a good understanding of what it means to others that maybe are not feeling welcome. So that's a good resource and video that is part of ALB's archive and on our YouTube channel that hopefully you get some use out of. Okay, so the next one is a student-led presentation from Cal State Monterey Bay, I believe, and I think I have it queued up at the right place. Again, we're just going to watch just a few minutes of it.
To our DEIB and IAT presentation. We hope you have been enjoying the summit so far. We are extremely excited to share with you all of our slides today. Adonis and I are here to tell you more about DEIB. And now some of you may be curious as to what DEIB stands for and what DEIB may look like. So DEIB stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And diversity is the practice of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and different genders. Equity is the quality of being fair and impartial. Inclusion is the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. And lastly, belonging is the need for a close relationship within a group and a desire to be a part of something greater than oneself. Now we're going to dive into some resources. And as mentioned previously, we're going to utilize the DEIB page on our National ALD website. So located on our website, you'll find many resources related to DEIB. On our website, you will see guidelines for DEIB related discussions. This can help create a safe and respectful space when communicating amongst each other. We have an ALD webinar on how to help your chapter celebrate diversity. There's also DEIB training for your chapter, which includes definitions and ways to incorporate DEIB related activities during meetings or events. We also have social media posts, videos, podcasts. There are many more resources located on our website that you all can explore to help celebrate DEIB in your chapter.
Okay, so thanks for putting that in the chat, and then the resources. So I won't screen share again. Let me just sort of, well, Jessica in the video did go through all the resources that we have on that page. So if you do want to grab it now while the chat is still there, the nationalald.org/DEIB. So hopefully there are lots of resources, as she mentioned. You could be doing social media posts maybe once a week, like a Thursday theme. I think there's one we did stuff on diversity anyway, but you could do maybe if you have an active social media channel, and I know some of you do, I know IUPUI does, that maybe you have some sort of belonging series on Instagram. But again, there's some podcasts and some videos and some resources that are covering the broader diversity, equity, and inclusion, but can also be very much related to the belonging theme. Okay, so At this point, what I wanted to do was just brainstorm a little bit more about belonging type activities, maybe on the funner side. So again, everything doesn't have to be so serious and deep. It can just be stuff that you're doing for fun. So what are some things, what is your, and Lauren, if you want to put that first prompt in, I'm curious to hear if you want to share what you're currently doing to promote a sense of belonging to members. I don't think, I know we had some folks join after we started, so we were asking you to introduce yourself in chat and at least just tell us what school you're from. So I know that there's 2 more. If you want to do that, please do. Because then I might even be familiar with what you guys do on campus. Awesome. Thanks, Allison. Yeah, so game night. So I mentioned that earlier too, and I'm seeing that more and more. We follow pretty much all the accounts. If we're not following your account on Instagram, let us know because we want to follow every chapter's account. But I see tons of pictures about with game night, so I know that's a popular one. So thanks for sharing that, and that's, do that regularly. It doesn't have to be once a semester. You could do that, multiple times. Do you get a good turnout, Allison? Is it how do you get people to show up? Food is one. I would strongly suggest you have food. Always have food. Good. The other one, anyone else want to share what they're doing? Or what new thing? What's something new you might want to try? And Lauren, I'm trying to think back to the 101 session, and were there other things in that where I talked about belonging activities? Ice cream was one. Ice cream socials. Does Kent State do any pure just social things, or?
We do. We actually have one coming up here in 2 weeks. We're going to go to a pumpkin patch. Very Ohio type thing to do, but
I think that might be universal. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, like a field trip to a pumpkin patch.
And we do try to do at least once a semester something off campus, just so that students can get some time away from campus. If, most people do have cars, but, they can carpool and get away from campus for a little bit. It's kind of refreshing, I think.
Yep. Right. Yeah. And thanks, Roxy. Events for everyone, crafty events. Yeah. Those are very popular too. Great suggestion. Pumpkin painting. Yeah. Sport, yeah, that was also in my 101 presentation, is a picture of a chapter who went to a football game together. So any of your athletic teams, go support them as a group. Yeah, so because you're right, Roxy, like I would suggest offering just a variety, because not everybody wants to paint or is artsy or play games, but sports might be more appealing to some than crafts to the others. Yeah, if you offer a variety, that's a great idea. One of the things, the field trip just made me think of, and this is more of a early in the semester thing to do, particularly early fall, so it's a little bit late for that, but it's never too late. Maybe it was something I used to do with groups when I worked at a university, is shopping trips, like group trips to Target or Walmart. Or a grocery store or something. A lot of students don't have cars. A lot of freshmen don't have cars. A lot of freshmen at some campuses are not allowed to have a car on campus. So there could be carpooling, or everybody meet at the bus stop and all go to Target together, and everybody spread out, and in an hour you meet back, and so it's, something together. It's a useful thing for students who need stuff and don't have a way to get. Not everyone can afford to Uber to places, and it might not be walkable. So take them to stores or the mall or downtown. Yeah. So, you know, it's endless. It could be, and don't forget, you know, physical activity of again, for those who are able or interested, hikes or just walks around the neighborhood. Doesn't have to be like a big mountain hike, but because it could just be walking in maybe the town your campus is in. And you know, the last thing I would suggest too is, and this is going to be something I would really encourage for all of the pillars, is to collaborate with other groups. Not everything has to just be Alpha Lambda Delta. I used to work at a campus that had a wilderness adventure club, and they went camping and hiking and stuff. So that was their thing. Like that's all they did all the time. So it would be cool every once in a while for an ALD chapter to just, okay, they're doing that hike and it's at that park that's, you know, a couple miles away from campus. Why don't we collaborate with them and team up and do it with them? Another club might be all into movies and they go to movies a lot. Do something with that club. Like, go, you know, hitch your wagon to another organization that's already doing stuff. And now it's an ALD event and you didn't have to do anything. All you had to do was promote it to your members and maybe pay a fee or whatever it was. But it's so much easier to just collaborate with other clubs who are already doing stuff. Okay, well, that's basically what we wanted to share about belonging. I want to make sure you're able to grab those videos. They're all on our YouTube channel anyway, and the DEIB should be easy enough to find. But I hope that these resources are useful. You get some ideas for ways you can promote more belonging, social inclusivity in the chapter.